One got knocked down, he won't get up again. The other went knocked him down. One got knocked down, and now he's fucking dead. The other went knocked him out. Combo breaker!
Killing a foe can be difficult. I mean, up close, you could be hit back, they could stab you, and it's just ultimately awful. You gotta deal with weapons and shit. But one weapon changed all that, the bow and arrow. And today we have two masters of archery fighting the death. That's right, today we have a match between Hanzo, the dragon archer, and Oliver Queen, the green arrow. Hanzo, the archer of Overwatch, and truly one of the best defensive heroes there is. I mean, really, everybody gets pissed off when they get one-shotted by a Hanzo when they just try and leave their base. But Hanzo himself actually has no special powers. Instead, his power stems from his bow and arrow. So Hanzo wields his storm bow. Basically, it's a very dangerous bow and arrow that he uses to sling high-damaging, armor-piercing arrows at incredibly high accuracy and speed. He's also so accurate he can actually shoot a cell phone falling through the air from an incredibly far distance at near impossible angles, and he's considered a sniper in the Overwatch team. Now, Hanzo actually carries 3 special arrows. The Sonic Arrow, which on contact creates a large area of effect that allows Hanzo to listen in and pinpoint on the position of his foes. Also, this helps him pretty much hear everything that they're going to do, so he can kind of predict what they're going to do next, but mostly it's meant for him to figure out where they are. He also has the Scatter Arrow, which on impact launches out shrapnel that can bounce off walls, ceilings, and floors to impale his foes. And finally, his most devastating arrow, the Dragon Strike Arrow. With this Dragon Strike Arrow fires straight forward with no drop-off and creates two large blue spirit dragons that phase through walls and physical structures and stuff like that and deal massive amounts of damage super quickly to whoever's unfortunate enough to be in the way. Now, Hanzo is actually strong enough, physically, to wrestle Genji, and his arrows are so dangerous that they actually force Genji to block or dodge them just on how, vicious and damaging they are. Not to mention, his arrows can pierce Winston's armor, Winston defeated freaking Doomfist, and Hanzo's arrows can pierce through his armor. Plus, his Dragon Strike Arrow ignores ordinary durability and passes straight through solid structures and buildings, and it ignores armor and shields and just does massive damage to the person's health altogether. Hanzo's able to fight Genji, who's been shown to be faster than Soldier 76, who outran a frickin' explosion while carrying a 10-year-old girl, and Hanzo can survive multiple shots from Overwatch and Talon heroes, and he's even survived his own Dragon Strike arrows before. Hanzo himself is a skilled assassin and a prodigy. He's also a super skilled marksman, archer, sword fighter, and fist fighter, and he's managed to fight Genji, a highly trained ninja, multiple times. Hanzo is only human though, and enough physical damage can kill him. However, even as a human, you don't want to be on the wrong side of Hanzo's bow. Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, or better known as DC's Hawkeye. I'm just kidding. So basically, I just want to kind of get this out of the way before we start. This is post-crisis Green Arrow only, because DC decides to reset its universe every 10 seconds, we kind of have to specify that kind of shit. So just like his foe, Green Arrow actually has no superpowers, but instead his strength lies in his bow and special arrows. So, to complement Green Arrow's bow, he's actually going to need some pretty bitchin' trick arrows, and of course you'd be right. He obviously has multiple of his standard arrows, but he also has the greatest arrow ever created, the Boxing Glove Arrow. Good for punching foes from afar, or I guess as a novelty gift. He also has the Flash Grenade Arrow, which is a flashbang-on arrow, useful for blinding foes. The Greek Fire Arrow is a special arrow that injects forever burning liquids into his foe. That's kind of a dick move, actually. The Glue Arrow is tipped with incredibly quick drying cement that looks like his bomb arrows, but on contact, covers them in, cement. He also has multiple explosive arrows and varying calibers and even gas arrows. But his most dangerous arrow of all is the Phantom Zone Arrow. He has one of these, and it's a blue-tipped arrow that one shot sends the opponent to the Phantom Zone, which, if you don't know, is like that prison that Superman sends all the bad guys to. It's in like a whole nother dimension. So I guess if he were to hit someone with this, I would count it as a kill. So, with his arsenal out of the way, what has Green Arrow accomplished? Well, physically he's traded blows with Katana, but his arrows are strong enough to demolish buildings and other long structures, depending on which one he uses. He's quick enough to keep pace with Katana in a match, who can dodge bullets, and he's incredibly durable, able to survive explosions and bullets himself. Green Arrow is a genius. He's smart enough to keep up with and help out the Justice League, and he's invented all of those trick arrows on his own. But he is human, and bullets and stabs can put him down, but you better hope he's out of arrows if you ever cross his path. Hanzo is running through a city as he shoots at Genji. Genji dodges and escapes as Green Arrow hops down from the roof of a building. Green Arrow reaches for his bow and Hanzo climbs up the wall as Green Arrow fires his bow and the arrow flies into the wall next to Hanzo. Hanzo jumps down and fires at Green Arrow, who flips back and runs into a building. Hanzo fires an arrow through the window. It causes a flash of blue light, and then Green Arrow pops up and draws an arrow from his quiver and fires down at Hanzo, who fires an arrow back, but it barely misses Green Arrow. The arrow that Green Arrow fires flies past Hanzo, causing an explosion behind him. Hanzo stumbles back as Green Arrow hops through the window and kicks Hanzo in the gut, and then swings his bow towards Hanzo's head. Hanzo ducks and then palm strikes Green Arrow, knocking him to the ground. Hanzo then puts his foot on Green Arrow's chest and points his bow at Green Arrow's head. Green Arrow grabs an arrow from his quiver and impales it through Hanzo's leg. As Hanzo stumbles back in pain, Green Arrow gets up and draws back his bow and fires. Hanzo dodges and fires an arrow back at Green Arrow, who then catches it and laughs as he throws it to the ground, causing it to burst, and shrapnel scatters all over the place, impaling Green Arrow through the spine. Hanzo draws back his bow and begins to speak in Japanese. Green Arrow pulls out a blue-tipped arrow and draws back his bow. The two fire and Hanzo's arrow splits into two large dragons. Green Arrow's arrow hits Hanzo, causing him to scream in agony as he disappears. The dragons fly at Green Arrow, who tries to dodge, but the dragons rip off his arm as he falls to the ground. Green Arrow then calls in support from the Justice League to come pick him up. This has to be the closest match I've done in a while. Honestly, picking a winner is a pain in the ass. Hanzo's arrows are way more damaging at large building levels, and he can take that kind of abuse. Whereas Green Arrow is only a building level, which isn't that far behind. However, due to them being humans, a good headshot could put them down, so either one of them, with their insane accuracy, could put the other down in a single shot. So this really came down to who had a more unpredictable arsenal and could get who had a better chance of getting the kill off quickly. Hanzo does only have 3 types of arrows, yes, but his Sonic Arrow will allow him to track Green Arrow through the entire match, and his Scatter Arrow and Dragon Strike Arrow are more than capable of putting down Green Arrow. Problem is, Green Arrow's fought people with Trick Arrows before, so he's gonna understand the idea of a Scatter Arrow. While the Dragon Strike Arrow might be something new to him, it's very loud and very big, and he would know how to deal with it. Like, oh shit, maybe I don't want to get hit by the 2 giant spiraling blue dragons. And he'd probably be smart enough to dodge it. Whereas Hanzo, there's not really many people with arrow types kind of like Green Arrow. Because, yeah, the explosive ones are kind of generic, and maybe the gas ones are something he's had to deal with before. But things like the glue arrow and the boxing glove arrow are definitely going to be new ideas, and high enough explosive ones could throw Hanzo off guard with how powerful the explosion is. Not to mention you throw in the Phantom Zone arrow that could put down Superboy Prime, and Hanzo is kind of screwed in this match. So, because Green Arrow has a larger, more unpredictable arsenal, and they're just kind of tied in most stats, our winner is Green Arrow. Next time on Combo Breaker, Shang Tsung versus Seth. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and put in the comments what you think of the next match, who you think will win, why, anything you got. I'd love to see what you guys put.